Hey everyone, Andrzej from Data Guideline. Today we're gonna answer the real question: how to reduce Microsoft Fabric costs with automatic capacity suspension. Let's get into it. If you're running Microsoft Fabric on a pay-as-you-go model, especially for development environments, there is zero reason to pay for compute while you sleep. Of course, you can manually pause your capacity in Azure Portal, but you're probably going to forget. The real value comes from automation. When it comes to automation, you have four main tools to choose from: Azure Logic Apps for a visual designer, Power Automate, which offers also a visual designer but more tightly integrated with M365, Azure Data Factory for pipeline REST API triggering, or Azure Automation Runbooks for pure scripting. While the first three are great, they often come with an extra complexity or usage costs. For a simple task like pausing capacity, we want the most lightweight and cost-effective solution. This is why we are choosing Azure Automation Runbooks. It's robust, it's schedulable, and for this use case, it's 100% free. We'll look at two approaches. One with the fixed schedule, where you turn your capacity on and off at specific hours, or dynamic approach, where the script checks activity in Microsoft Fabric Capacity Metrics app and suspend the capacity automatically when nothing is happening. Let's start with the fixed schedule. In Azure Portal, we need to find automation accounts and create a new automation account. Then we need to provide a resource group in which we would like to have our automation account and provide a name. Then we select a region. Let's go ahead with North Europe and click Next. Then we need to make sure that system assigned is selected. Then Next. Public access, Next. We can provide tags if we want, Next. And create our automation account. When our resource is ready, we can go to it. And here we can see our newly created automation account. We need to make sure that our identity settings are created properly. So in the system assigned, we need to make sure that our status is on. Next, we need to add permission for automation account to be able to turn on and off Microsoft Fabric capacity. So we need to go back to Azure Portal and then find our resource group in which we have our Fabric capacity, find Fabric capacity, and here we need to go to access control and add permission here. So we go ahead and click add role assignment. We need to go to privileged administrator roles, find contributor permission, then select members. And from here, we need to find our security group in which Azure Automation account is already added. Then we find on the list our security group. In my case, it's DG Fabric Service Principal, and I click review and assign. Next, I can check if my security group is added as a contributor role to the Fabric capacity. When we have our permissions ready, we can create our runbook, which will start and stop our capacity. So let's go back to homepage of Azure Portal and let's find our automation account in which we can go to Process Automation, click Runbooks, and create a new runbook here. So let's provide a name. Runbook type is PowerShell. Runtime version is 7.2. Next, next, and click Create. So we have our runbook ready to type a code, which we'll copy from GitHub. So let's go to my Fabric code snippet page in which you can find some Fabric code snippets. Let's click to pause and resume Fabric capacity here. Here you have a description of parameters in the script and how to use it. But let's go ahead and click Fabric, pause and resume PowerShell script, copy the script, go back to Azure portal, paste, and now we can save the script and remember to publish it as well. Yes. All right, so we have our script ready, and let's test it if it's running correctly. So let's go ahead and click Start. And here on the right, we need to provide parameters. This is a subscription ID, resource group name, capacity name, and operation, which means start or stop, 0 or 1, resume or suspend, it doesn't matter. You just need to provide what you would like to do in order to start or stop your capacity. So let's provide parameters here. So I've got my parameters in place. And let's start our Fabric capacity. So let's see if it's already paused. So let's go to Portal Azure. And let's see if our Fabric capacity is paused right now. Yes, it is. So let's go back. Let's start the runbook. All right, so the status is queued. So let's refresh it. Okay, it's starting. We can go to output and see if something is changing. Okay, script is running, completed. All right, so script detected that Fabric capacity is paused, so it started to resume the capacity. So let's go to another tab and see if our capacity is running. And we can see that it's running. So we can leave it for now. And the next thing, we need to create a schedule. So we are right now at the runbook, and you can see on the list that there is a schedule, but this is a schedule in which we are assigning the general already created schedule. So we need to go back to automation account, and from the list of the shared resources, we can create a new schedule. So let's add a new one and provide a name. Every 6 p.m. for instance. Let's click recurring every day. All right, and let's start it at 6:00 p.m. All right, never expires. Let's go ahead and click create. So right now we have on the list 2 schedules. We created the one that runs every day at 6 p.m. So we need to assign this schedule to our runbook. So we need to go to our runbooks, select runbook we've created, go to schedules, add the schedule, click here, select the schedule that we would like to assign. Okay, so we assign the schedule to the runbook. Then we need to provide parameters. And here we are providing parameters as we did before, but this is the very last time we need to do this. The schedule will remember our parameters for the future runs. I have my parameters ready. So right now I've typed the operation stop. So let's click OK. All right, so I've got my schedule every 6 p.m. 4 parameters provided. OK. Let's refresh. All right, and right now our runbook is scheduled, so every 6 p.m. Fabric capacity will be suspended. Now, let's take a look at how to configure a dynamic approach. So before we configure another runbook for dynamic approach, we need to add some additional permissions. So we need to start in Microsoft Fabric and go to admin portal and filter the list with word principal. We need to find setting that says service principal can call Fabric public APIs. Enable this one and provide a security group, which we configured earlier. Remember that in this security group, there should be your Azure Automation account. All right. Next thing, we need to go to workspaces and we need to add our security group to the Microsoft Fabric Capacity Metrics workspace. So add DG Fabric Service Principals and give it a contributor permission. Add. All right, so we already have permissions configured. So right now we need to go back to Azure portal and start creating new runbook. Let's click again on Azure Automation account. Click Runbooks. Create a new runbook. Again, we need to provide a name. PowerShell runbook type, version 7.2, and hit Review and Create. Okay, we've got new runbook ready to edit. So let's go back to GitHub page. Go to Pause Fabric Capacity Activity. Then select PowerShell script. And we need to copy the code from here. So let's go ahead and copy raw file, paste in runbook, save, publish, yes. All right, and we have our runbook ready. Okay, let's click refresh just in case. And let's test the runbook, so we can click start. And we have a few parameters to provide here. They are slightly different than the parameters in the previous runbook. So the first one is subscription ID, resource group name, in which we have our Fabric capacity created, capacity name and capacity ID. I think this is straightforward. Then we have workspace ID and dataset ID. Workspace ID is the ID that is related to our workspace in which we have Fabric Capacity Metrics app, and dataset ID is the semantic model ID you can take from the browser link at the top here. Then we have 4 parameters. User time zone shift hours. So this is the time zone that you need to adjust to match your time zone. Then we have data stamp shift hours. This timestamp is responsible for shifting timestamps coming from the semantic model. They are in a different time zone, so we need to adjust for that. In my case, it was -5, so the default value is -5, but you need to check on your side how many hours you need to change this parameter. Idle threshold hours, this means that how many hours you would like to check for idle, for how much hours it was idle. And the last one, minimum CU threshold seconds. So if there was some noise or some small interactive or background operations, we can just skip this and pause the Fabric capacity anyway, even though that in the last hour there was some small amount of capacity units used. So I filled in my parameters, so let's start the script and test if it's working. All right, so the script is running and we can go to the output tab and wait until our script is finished. All right, so my runbook has finished. And as you can see at the very beginning of the script, you have time configuration. So this is important in terms of parameters you're providing. And below you have information what is the noise threshold and the table with timestamp, which needs to be shifted. And this shifted timestamp is represented by this data timestamp shift. All right, and our script is checking if in the last hour there was some capacity unit seconds. If there is no timestamp, it means that the capacity was idle, so it will be suspended. Or if the capacity unit seconds are lower than the threshold, of course, the capacity is being suspended as well. So in my case, in my last hour, I have more than the threshold, so it's not suspending. But if I change the threshold or I'll leave my capacity idle, it will suspend my capacity. I've run my runbook 1 hour later when there was no activity in my Fabric capacity. And if I scroll down, you can see that there was some little usage, but it was below the threshold of 100 capacity units. So this means that the capacity will be suspended, right? And we can go and check if it's passed, yeah? All right, so let's go back to our automation account and we need to set up a schedule. So we go to shared resources, schedule, and we need to add a new schedule. And this one will be called every hour with an offset of 5 minutes. And this is because every time we run a DAX query, which is asking Fabric Capacity Metrics App semantic model, we are consuming a little bit of the capacity. So we need to run this before full hour. Right, recurring every 1 hour, set expiration, no. Again, time zone is important, so please set up this relevant to your current time zone. Let's create. All right, and we can assign the schedule to our runbook. Add the schedule, assign the every hour with an offset, and again, provide parameters the last time. So our schedule is configured, so let's go ahead and click OK. And from now on, our runbook should check if our capacity is idle or not. All right, so there are two things that we need to remember. The first one is that there is about 15 minutes delay between the consumption and the value shown in the capacity metrics app. So this means our runbook is delayed also about 15 minutes. So take this into consideration. And the second thing is that you need to have your semantic model of Fabric Capacity Metrics app refreshed every day and probably do it every morning. So you can click schedule refresh and configure it here to run daily during morning hours when your capacity is active. And there you have it, a fully automated solution to pause your Fabric capacity. Whether you choose the simple fixed schedule or the smarter activity-based monitoring, you are now ensuring you only pay for the compute you actually use. Just a quick reminder, if you pick the dynamic route, remember there is about 15 minutes delay in the capacity metrics app, and you must schedule a daily refresh for your semantic model. Otherwise, the script won't see the new data. Don't forget to grab the code snippets from the GitHub link in the description, and thanks for watching.